Hello, witches, pagans, light workers, and magical beings. Welcome back to another episode of Witches of the Moon. We are in season 13. This is week 13, and I am your Tuesday hostess. My name is CORIANN. This week's topic is flying. So, where does the image, or what is the origin of witches flying on broomsticks come from? Well, if we take a little history trip, and you know me, I like to give a little history. There's a couple of different accounts or stories as to how this originated. But basically, at some point, some say that it came from the compounds or basically the compounds that created this sensation of flying came from uh, a believe it was a fungus or a mold that grew either on a plant or bread or something to that nature. Anyway, through various activities, it was noted that, you know, it, it would cause psychological or hallucinogenic reactions. Okay, so you have to think about when this was. Okay, this was back way before there was running water in the home, right? So you'd have to go and pump the water from a well or draw it from a creek or a lake, right? So hygiene back then probably wasn't the best, right? So if the woman is sweeping in the house and say there's this either plant that has this fungus or mold on it, or this bread that has molded and created a mold that turns into like a dust, and you're sweeping it with your broom, that dust powder gets on your hands, it gets on the broomstick, right? And you know, when you're busy doing stuff and you want to hold something but you don't have anything to prop the broom on, maybe they put it between their legs and held it there. The skin there is thin and sensitive, and it, you know, back then they didn't generally wear underwear either, because it just wasn't, there was no need really, and it was not commonplace. There was layers of fabric in the dress and what have you. Pantaloons didn't come in until later, or they just weren't worn except on special occasions. So in any case, at some point it was noted that, hey, this is feels pretty good, right? So they basically, for lack of a better term, you know, went on a hallucinogenic psychotropic trip. Okay. Um, there's other accounts that in the process of creating cures or ointments or medicines, certain plants or herbs were brewed, okay, and when taken or ingested, they would create these effects. But oftentimes, the plants that were used were poisonous and would create a gastrointestinal upset, basically vomiting, nausea, um, that kind of thing. So it wasn't very pleasant. Some of these plants were that we know today as being poisonous, like belladonna, um, henbane, mandrake, jimson weed. These were all plants that were known to contain tropane alkaloids that were known to cause hallucinations. They would be oftentimes brewed and drank again to reduce pain, treat various ailments, but again, it caused gastrointestinal upset. Sometimes they would take them because, hey, that, you know, after I got sick, I could, you know, the feeling was pretty cool, you know, I'm kind of weightless and seeing these vivid images and dreams and that kind of thing. At some point, it's thought that there was an ointment made because it was found when probably while handling the herbs and then taking care of certain bodily functions or whatever, that, hey, if this is absorbed through certain types of skin, under the arms, near the sweat glands, or mucous membranes, down there, way down south, then it would absorb into that skin and it wouldn't cause the upset. So these hallucinogenic compounds somewhere down the line, it was known to be absorbed. These, hyoscine or scopolamine compounds would absorb into the skin, right? So what would happen is they would get the feeling of flying. Well, somewhere along the line, they found that a really, how do I put this? One way of application would be using a broomstick. Okay, so it was observed, there was one account in some of the trials that this witch was riding around on her broomstick, dancing around wildly on her broomstick. Well, she had probably put this ointment on the shaft of the broom and placed it where it would absorb and was rather pleasurable. So she's probably dancing around the house, kitchen, yard, whatever. And in this hallucinogenic state, she appears to be mad, basically. So it didn't bode well for the time. Okay? So there's a little bit of history. Just very brief, not concise by any means, but it kind of gives you an idea of what plants, herbs, that kind of thing were used. Keep in mind, those plants are very dangerous. They're poisonous. If you're handling any of those, please, please, please use extreme caution. I would wear gloves and wash my hands thoroughly, and certainly not touch my face, not near your eyes, mouth, that kind of thing. Again, I would not recommend using those particular compounds, and if you do, please know what you're doing and use them in very, very small quantities. Again, caution, just putting that out there. Extreme caution when handling any of those particularly poisonous, considered to be poisonous plants, roots, compounds. So how do we fly now? If we're modern witches, how do we fly? Do we fly? I'm going to say yes. I do a lot of astral travel in meditation and in my sleep. So I don't generally use the assistance of compounds or hallucinogenic drugs, mainly because of my line of work. I cannot risk doing anything like that, but for spiritual purposes, I have ingested certain plants that will cause a certain amount of that will put you in a different state. Let's put it that way, because I don't like using some of these negative terms of high or you know, trip, that kind of thing, because for me it was when I did utilize these plants, it was with someone who was guiding me spiritually, much like what's done in like sweat lodges in Native American cultures. There's different cultures that utilize different plant-based substances that allow them to ascend to a different state of consciousness. Okay? When you do that, you are seeking ascension into your higher self and into a greater understanding of the universe and knowledge in general. At least that's the way it was for me. It was very spiritual, it was guided, and it was with that whole intention. And it was in very low quantity as well. I did a lot of preparation work prior to that, a lot of preparing my body, my mind, and my spirit. And I now when I travel, do astral travel, that kind of was utilized to help open my third eye so that I could travel more freely without the use of anything. It's still, I think, more difficult, but it can be done. So basically, I will, when I want to astral travel or reach into a higher plane, or even when I'm doing shadow work, I will meditate for several days, depending upon what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to release and travel back to see what I need to let go of, I'll do these cycles on a waning moon up to the new moon, or the dark moon, actually, the dark moon. If I am seeking knowledge and better understanding, I will start it on the new moon and work up to the full moon. And where I will do my travel, my intended travel, either on the dark moon or the new moon or the full moon. So, and this is this is just my personal method of astral travel and flying. I do get a sensation of flying. I do get a sensation of going, like air rushing by me, even if I'm just in bed. Um, and then I end up going to different places where I'm learning different things or I'm seeing different things. Sometimes it's very clear, um, and very pronounced, and sometimes it's like snippets and I have to try to piece it together, almost like pulling cards from a deck, and trying to, it's like, okay, this is this, this is this, kind of piecing it all together to get a full meaning. So that is basically how I travel or how I fly. I usually do it in a dream state or in a meditative state, where I change my level of consciousness. Um, and sometimes I do travel without intentions. If there's something that my guides and my ancestors feel I need to know, sometimes they'll pull me into a travel, usually in my dream, or at night while I'm sleeping, and I'll get whatever message I need to get. But there is definitely that sensation of free flowing or free falling, even sometimes, or like a travel, like I'm being pulled, basically. That's the way it is for me. Um, I'm sure other people have different experiences, and I'm sure as you watch the videos, you'll get different accounts on how each of the different hosts or hostesses um, travel or fly. Natalie she makes a flying ointment. I need to get some from her and try it, but she makes a flying ointment and is very versed on flying and ascending to different levels of consciousness, or descending to different levels of consciousness. So I'm excited to watch her video, even though her video is on Monday. I don't like watching any other host or hostess's videos until I've made mine. I don't want anything to influence it. I want you to have my perspective. So I will be excited to watch her video, even though she's my sister, and I know she's told me on different occasions, different things. It's just nice to see it in video format and to get a concise um, snapshot, if you will, of her perspective on it. So, as well as the other hostesses and hosts on the channel. It's really, for me, it's very interesting to watch them and listen and learn. That being said, this is our drawing week for the giveaway, the end of the season giveaway. So please, if you wish to be included in this drawing, where we give a nice little goodie basket, it's kind of like a grab bag. You open it up and it's all kinds of neat things in there. If you're interested in being included in this drawing, please then hit the like button, comment, and you need to do this on every host and hostess's video this week. So for week 13, topic flying, make sure you watch each host's video, hit the like button, comment, leave a comment. Doesn't have to necessarily be long, just leave a comment, and you will be entered in the end of season drawing for our goodie box. So look forward to seeing the comments, hearing if you have any questions, if you'd like clarification on anything, please, please, please put that in your comment. If you had an experience, share that with us, please. If how do you fly? What does your ritual look like? What do you do? Please leave that in the comments. Really, that's how we learn, is from each other. And that's why this whole channel exists, is so that we can learn from each other. We can share our experiences, share our knowledge, and help each other on our path. Not everything's, resonates with everybody, and that's okay. If it does, great. If it doesn't, not a problem. Take it for what it's worth, and go with what does resonate with you. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and everybody have a great week. Stay safe, and blessed be.